Our entire story, all 15 million years of it, is just a blip, a tiny, almost insignificant moment in the life of the cosmos. So how on earth did we, this one little primate, end up becoming the most dominant force on this planet in what is basically a cosmic instant? Well, let's trace that unbelievable journey.
I mean, just let that sink in for a second. Every kingdom, every discovery, every person who ever lived, all of it would flash by faster than you can blink. It just makes you realize how improbable our whole story really is.
So that's the big question we're tackling. We're going to look at the key moments, the crucial adaptations, and the massive planetary changes that set the stage for our unlikely rise. And, our story starts long before we were, well, us.
To really understand how we got to this point, we have to go way back in time. We need to meet our ancestors, creatures living lives that we would barely even recognize today.
Okay, so check this out. You can see our evolutionary path branching off over millions of years. First, about 30 million years ago, you get the tailless apes splitting off from monkeys. Then 18 million years ago, the great apes go their own way. But the split that really matters for us, that happened just 7 million years ago, when our human lineage finally broke away from the lineage of chimpanzees, who are our closest living relatives.
But here's the thing. This split didn't just happen in a vacuum. A huge, massive environmental shift was about to change all the rules of the game. It was a change that would force our ancestors out of the safety of the trees and into a brand new and pretty dangerous world.
The world as our ancestors knew it was literally disappearing. The safe, lush rainforest with food everywhere were shrinking, and in its place, the vast open grasslands of the savanna. Now, this new world was absolutely full of risks, but it was also full of opportunity for any creature that could figure out how to adapt.
And we're not just talking about a little change in the weather. No, these were massive geological forces at play. You had a global cooling trend, tectonic plates smashing into each other, and the rise of the Great Rift Valley. All of this came together to create this new, drier world. The planet itself was basically kicking our ancestors out of the trees.
So, stuck out on the savanna, our ancestors desperately needed a new way to survive. And their first great adaptation was a truly radical change in the way they moved around.
And you gotta ask, right? Why walk on 2 feet? I mean, it's pretty unstable, and for most animals, it's way slower than running on all fours. So what was the massive evolutionary advantage that made this whole bipedalism thing worth the trade-off?
Well, it wasn't just one thing. It was a whole package of powerful benefits. Standing up tall freed the hands, right? So you could carry food, you could carry tools. It gave our ancestors a better view over that tall grass to spot predators. It even made them look bigger, more intimidating. And maybe most important of all, it helped them stay cool. You could almost call this our original superpower, thermoregulation. Standing upright, plus our unique ability to sweat all over our bodies, turned us into the planet's greatest endurance athletes. We were perfectly built for this cooler, drier world. It's actually why, kind of ironically, we have such a hard time in really extreme heat and humidity today.
Okay, so now our hands are free from walking. They can be used for something completely new, innovation. And this led to 2 huge technological leaps that would completely change our destiny and our relationship with the planet forever.
Stone tools, which showed up around 2.5 million years ago, were a revolution, no doubt about it. But the real game changer? That was fire. Fire gave us warmth, it gave us protection, but the most important thing it gave us was cooked food. Cooking unlocked a ton of new energy and killed all sorts of nasty parasites, giving our brains a massive evolutionary turbo boost.
For most of our history, we were nomads, hunter-gatherers. But then, as the last ice age ended about 12,000 years ago, agriculture changed absolutely everything. This move from following our food to producing it meant we could settle down. It led to rapid population growth and created the very idea of territory.
And this leads to a pretty wild idea called the Ruddiman hypothesis. It suggests that our impact on the climate actually started thousands of years before the Industrial Revolution. The theory goes that all that early farming and deforestation released just enough greenhouse gas to actually hold off the next scheduled ice age.
So agriculture laid the foundation for civilization. But as these societies grew, a new pattern started to emerge. Some expanded and dominated, while others didn't. Why? Well, one very controversial theory says the answer isn't about the people at all. It's about the planet itself.
This is the core idea of what's known as the guns, germs, and steel hypothesis, that the actual shape and orientation of the continents might have played a huge, decisive role in all of human history.
Okay, so here's how the thinking goes. Eurasia has a mostly east-west axis. That shape made it super easy for crops, livestock, and new ideas to spread rapidly across thousands of miles of similar climate zones. But the Americas and Africa? They have north-south axis, which makes it incredibly difficult to spread agriculture across all those drastically different climate bands. This geographical luck, the theory argues, gave Eurasian societies a massive head start in developing dense populations, new technologies, and even immunities to diseases.
And that brings us to right now. After a 15-million-year journey of just reacting to what the planet threw at us, we have become the primary force of change. We are the first species that can actually see the consequences of our actions before they even happen. We've gone from being shaped by the world to shaping it. So the only question that really matters now is, what are we going to do with that power?